And take us away.
Okay, well, first off, sorry about the wait on this.
Yeah, we're very sorry.
Yeah, it's... There have been a number of issues with it. We've been busy. There's we've had trouble settling on what to do or whatever. We threw out one episode that we just weren't that happy with, which we will be covering that as well, besides just, comment for this.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a mix of things. What's funny is the fact that, I finally got the time and inclination to do it, and it's the day everything on my computer was wiped out by malware.
Yeah. I guess it just takes a little bit of a virus to put this back on track.
Yeah.
Really,
although, just to be fair, we were talking about it yesterday anyway, so it's not like it is the reason why or anything.
Yeah, this whole sort of thing sort of fell by the wayside, and we would like to start doing these on a more regular basis.
Yeah, part of the problem's just been kind of settling on what we want to do.
Yeah, because honestly, we're gonna get into why that for that particular reason as we go into this episode.
Yeah, because we kind of settled on reviewing. Well, I mean, I'm sure you can see the title of the video. It's Gaia.
Yeah.
We settled on reviewing Gaia a while back, but the thing is, it's been hard to get to the point of reviewing Gaia.
It really has.
We'll get into that.
Yeah, we will. So yeah, in general, we would like to start doing these on a more regular basis. If you want, you can probably the email address is included in the account in the information for the account. If you would like to start sending us suggestions, we always take a look at them if nothing else. So there is that, and if we are going to do these on a more regular basis, we would need something like that.
Yeah, by all means, we've been looking for more comments to read for this. We did find one that we just kind of read through yesterday that we did really heavily consider doing instead of Gaia for this one. It basically came down to a flip a coin.
Yeah, we literally flipped. Okay, are we gonna do this new comic that we both thought was really awesome, or do we talk about Gaia?
Yeah.
I was pulling for Gaia, but it was very close.
Yeah, it basically came down to, at this point in time, we have more to say about Gaia.
Yeah. And also Gaia won.
Yeah. But I was saying that's why Gaia was still in the running.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so right off... Well, no, I'll wait to get into that later. But, okay, first, let's talk about the other thing.
While we were doing... Well, I was just starting to work with Gaia characters, but now I think we're going to need to do the... You might recall that our first episode was on Misfile, and in the intervening time between that first episode and now, they've released a pilot for a potential television series.
Yeah. And we had spoken on that before and said we intended to review it, and we did. We just didn't really like how the review came out.
No, it was very rambling and very much kind of going over the same points over and over, and overall too negative.
Yeah. Okay. It kind of came off a little bit too harsh.
Yeah.
Although, granted, don't really take that to be a positive.
No. It says a lot that while we were talking about this, Martin looked up how much it was and how much they say, $4 on Amazon?
Yeah, it was a 2 to rent, 4 to buy.
Okay. And he pointed out, it's not worth that money.
Yeah. It might be worth the rental just on pure novelty. I wouldn't buy it.
No. I guess I am kind of glad I saw it, because, it was a novel experience. How often do you see something like this? But
it was certainly ambitious.
Yeah, it definitely was, but again, if you read the Misfile comic, guy named Ash gets misplaced in the cosmic bureaucracy and is now a woman. Another girl is now 2 years younger. Angel shows up to explain what the hell happened.
That's one thing that does suck about this, actually, is from re-recording this, we'll miss where you were actually kind of laughing at looking through the start.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know, I still am really feeling you need to get into it, most given the fact that why would I want to get into something that never where nothing fucking happens?
Yeah.
See, that's why I don't play that's what keeps keeping me from playing the Half-Life games.
Here's what I would recommend on Misfile.
Yeah.
read the first 6, maybe 7 issues, just so you know who Missy is, even though issue 7 is also when Aiden shows up and it starts to suck. But I would, read from that point, and then just kind of stop and wait until somebody tells you it's hit the end, and then come back and see what you missed.
I don't know, I'm much more tempted to just not look at it at all until it ends.
Yeah. That's my point too, because at least that way you would at least know, okay, eventually this is gonna pay off.
True.
Okay, so,
the Misfile, trailer.
Yeah. How much should we hold it against this that the acting is not good?
I would say very little, because the acting in the trailer is really bad. A lot of the timing is terrible. Just the delivery of lines, I think, is very off base. But the thing is, none of it really feels like the fault of the actors.
Yeah, it's a mix of things. It's one, I'm sure they're not that experienced. 2, direction seems kind of spotty.
It really does. In particular, it feels like, honestly, whenever the actors say a line, it feels like that line was the first take.
Yeah. And there's also the fact that the material could not have been easy to work with.
No, and that's honestly another big problem with it. But I feel like, I don't know. Should we skip ahead on that?
What is it?
Yeah, the material, I think, is another big problem I had with the subject with the pilot. But I don't know. Should we skip ahead on that?
Now I will go ahead and say on that at least that it's honestly too faithful an adaptation.
Yeah, that was my problem with it, because the manga has a lot of the webcomic has a lot of humor in it, and it handles everything in a sort of manga style.
Yeah.
Everything is out.
Yeah, a lot of the jokes don't really translate.
No, they don't translate well into live action, and they need to really be more butchery in adapting it from one medium to another, because
there's also how the characterization of the characters has progressed as the story's gone on, which that happens.
Yeah.
But it's still written like they were in book 1, but okay, that's fun from a character progression standpoint, obviously, but not just in terms of the author changed how he wrote these characters, which happened, but it didn't happen with it. It just used the original characterizations. It doesn't fit with how these characters eventually became, which with an adaptation you should probably be going for.
Could you
for a more consistent feel, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you might want to clarify that statement a little bit.
Okay, what I mean is, right, I'm not saying, they should be acting like they were post-character development. I'm just talking about, whenever you're writing, as you go, you kind of, sometimes you don't quite have a character planned out exactly the right way, and then they just kind of more fall in line and act in a certain way. They've always been like that, it's just, they weren't always, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. Misfile had a fair bit of that going on with it, but it did not translate to the pilot.
Yeah. Yeah, I was getting that, comparing the pilot to the first chapter. So, offhand, one major thing was that, God damn it, I can't even remember if it was Vashiel or Remisiel. Remisiel. Yeah, the angel who gets them all in this situation. The story sort of plays it sort of like a trickster, nice guy, kind of like Q from Star Trek.
Yeah.
But in the comic, he plays much more like a kind of a apathetic slacker asshole.
Yeah. Yeah, and the movie hits this weird line where the guy's kind of playing it like the later characterization, but it's not written that way.
Yeah. So, and this is a problem with the director. If they were
honestly, at a point, after a while, I kind of found that guy charming, but it still just didn't really work.
It helps that the guy that they got to play the role looked like Remisiel.
Yeah.
The other.
Yeah.
What's that?
I said, yeah, white hair aside. But...
Yeah, white hair aside, he was blonde, but I mean, more so than the other two, he fucking looked like that part.
Yeah.
But in general, this was a problem with the source materials, that the jokes worked fine when presented in a manga, like Ash standing in the mirror, touching his new female boobs. That worked as a joke in the manga. Webcomic. Fuck.
Yeah.
You know what the fuck I mean.
Yeah.
Sequential story.
Or I remember you, in talent form, you laughed at the "I'll kill you" thing, but
yeah.
In the movie, it came off really weird and awkward.
No, in the comic, in the comic, there's this feeling of just, she finds out, oh, I'm the guy you're the person who turned me into a girl. I'll kill you! Just jumping on them, wacky expression. I'm trying to find it in the pages now. But in the movie, it just felt awkward and weird. Yeah, so there you go. See, that's funny because of the wacky expression. In the movie, they just have her screaming, "I'll kill you," and pouncing, and then cut, and it doesn't feel funny.
Yeah.
They need better editing and a better sort of hold on things to make the situation seem funny. Because a lot of comedic jokes do come down to the editing and the staging and the cinematography and everything.
Also, I really question the fact that where it's billed as day one, yeah, it's literally day one.
Yeah.
It cuts out 30 days into the story. 30 pages into the story. It does a third of the first book. Which leads to this really awkward cutoff where it's even as a pilot, this doesn't feel even as a pilot, this doesn't feel like a finished story. This just feels like you just kind of stopped filming in the middle of it.
Yeah, it really does. Also, they probably should have changed Ash's hobby from racing just for you're not going to have the budget to ever show that.
Yeah.
Just bite the bullet and make it something else.
Yeah, it's okay, to be fair, the racing scene that they don't show in the movie, that they just skip over and is off screen, it's off screen in the comic too.
At the same time, though, I mean, come on, you're never going to have the budget to have these big races. I mean, the amount of money it would take to film these on a regular basis is way too goddamn much, and you can tell from the comic that the guy is really crazy into race cars. So yeah. It's obviously has personal significance to it, but you got to bite the bullet and not do that.
Yeah. Either that or bite the bullet, try to put together the budget and make it happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I have no idea what kind of budget it would take to do that.
I don't think that's possible. That would ever possibly be a feasible option ever.
Yeah.
You would have to.
I don't know. I know some straight DVD action movies would be really cheap.
Yeah, but there's a difference between a movie and I think a series.
Yeah.
Especially given from the length of the fucking comic and how nothing ever
happens.
I
don't know. I think if somebody picked this up, you probably wouldn't have that hard of time doing it.
Yeah.
Although, granted, I guess for the purposes of just this pilot of whatever, for what it is, just on its own without being picked up by somebody, this thing was never going to sell well enough to justify that kind of money going into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, honestly, in general, that was one other weird thing about that, about the movie or whatever. It's it kind of felt like it was, it didn't do the typical adaptation thing of, at least throw in some, signs that the stuff later in the series happens.
No, it really didn't. It just played out the first storyline with no indication of what was coming.
Yeah, the only thing I can remember at all that was, any sort of nod to later in the story was just, I think, Missy's name was, on a file or something.
Yeah.
When, honestly, she probably wouldn't have been hard to write in as a character.
No, I mean, that's just something you do when you adapt something.
Yeah.
You tweak the story around to make it, to add shit in that you would
Yeah.
Bad adaptation, badly shot, bad everything.
Also, Last Airbender did that, even.
Oh, yeah. The Last Airbender had in nods of shit that was going to come in later.
Yeah.
I can't recall what they were offhand because I blocked most
of
them.
Well, they wouldn't shut up about the library.
Oh, yeah. Wait, didn't they... No, they mentioned the library in, the show?
They did, but they kept going on and on about it in the movie as in one of those, this is clearly coming back later things, while in the show it was just a one and done.
Even so, I get the feeling that they probably knew what they were going to do with that in the show.
What is it?
Even then, I get the feeling they probably knew what they were going to do with that in the show.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. They also mentioned, what was her name, Hana? The bloodbender chick.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, they mentioned her?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when at the start, they say something you're the only waterbender left in this village since they took away the last one, Hana, or whatever. Yeah, that was the bloodbender chick.
Okay. They have not had a waterbender in this tribe for a long fucking time, because
Well, I mean, that was the plot point in the show, too.
Wait, was it?
Yeah.
Okay, huh.
Yeah, that they'd, like, come and dot them all whenever, yeah, like, ages before, whatever, and then Katara was, like, born right around the... Okay, yeah, that's what it was. They, like, came around that point, like, basically, like, rounded up... Actually, no, that doesn't make sense.
Okay, we're getting really off topic. Should we maybe...
Yeah. Okay, point is, Last Airbender sucks.
Yes, it does. And the film, not the show.
Yeah.
Yes.
The show didn't suck until the sequel.
Yeah, we're not crazy huge fans of Korra.
Yeah, we thought about going into that further. But not right.
Maybe sometime for like a milestone episode we'll do something about Korra. But for now, yeah, I don't think there's anything more we can say about the Misfile, do you?
Yeah, we'll probably at least include like a link to the download for Amazon in case you want to give it a look.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not bad as like novelty. I just wouldn't really recommend like. I don't know that I recommend buying it. I mean, I guess for $4 you wouldn't be out anything. But
yeah.
But yeah, it's not anything great.
No. But so yeah, Gaia, do you want to take the introduction on this one, mate?
Okay, so we've mentioned Gaia before. Like we talked about it briefly.
Whenever
we talked about Sandra and Wu.
Yeah, this is done by the same people who did the lovely webcomic Sandra and Wu, which I would vastly recommend over this one. It's a wonderful Sandra and Wu. It's a wonderful kind of daily gag comic.
Although that being said, I think since our review of it, if we did it again, we would probably not be quite as glowing on it as we were.
It's jumped the shark, yes. Yeah, definitely.
I don't know that goes that far, but it has slipped in quality.
There's a slope. Is my point.
But Sandra was still the stronger comic of the two.
Absolutely. Like, and we're going to get into why, because this is not going to be the most positive review we've ever done.
Yeah, we'll give it its props as we go, but yeah.
They use Ash for fan service anyway, so fuck, I'm giving them giant breasts.
Yeah. What's funny is because of the like print books, I can tell you what Ash's top size is.
I think I feel comfortable not knowing that. Thank you.
Yeah, they had like a bus chart in one of the books.
Okay. Moving on.
Yeah.
You want to start with how do we begin with Gaia?
I suppose we begin by not drawing Ash.
Say again?
So I suppose we begin by not drawing Ash.
I had started on him when we were doing Misfile. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know. We're nearly done. Whatever. So okay, Gaia. It's a fantasy comic about, and right there is one of the issues.
Yeah.
I can't actually tell you what this comic's about so much.
Okay, where did we hear about the D&D thing? Because I think that's a critical problem with this case.
I think we can wait into that later, but okay, Gaia seems to... Okay, it's a fantasy world, albeit one that has, like, robots and stuff.
Yeah.
It seems very based in Final Fantasy kind of logic.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Because Final Fantasy, even before 7, they always had this sort of deal of, like, fantasy world with magic and swords, but also, frankly, very random amounts of technology.
Yeah.
That's why the more recent ones have always sucked, because they got really... whatever. I'm not... sidetrack again.
Okay. So, there's this... Alright, so there's this stool that, kind of appears more important at the start than it actually is. Right. Like, magic scroll for a bunch of wizards or whatever. It's not really a Harry Potter kind of thing. It comes off more kind of like a military kind of thing or something.
It's more like, it's kind of more like... Central City from Full Metal Alchemist crossed with...
embarrassing.
Yeah, more like that, kind of crossed with the College of Winterhold from Skyrim.
Yeah. Okay, so basically, story follows like a group of students at the store and a thief that they end up hooking up with. And one of them is like really ridiculously talented or whatever, and then there's an attack on the store, and she's, like, arrested in the aftermath.
Right.
And there's, like, this whole conspiracy to, like, have her executed or something. And so a lot of the time becomes about trying to rescue her. The ultimate reasons why this is happening were, like, really recently revealed, so I don't really feel like I should get into it, even though it is, like, crucial plot information that's needed to understand anything that's going on.
Yeah.
But this comic's been running for about 4.5 years now, and really only now has it given enough information to, like, say exactly what everyone's, like, goal is.
Yeah.
And even then, as I said, it's happened recently enough and taken long enough in the story, I don't really know that I would describe it as part of the plot synopsis. Like, is it already becoming clear what the problem with this comic is?
We have no idea what the plot is. This plot is a meandering, gigantic mess.
Yeah.
It's all very poorly presented, and can we go into
there's this whole subplot about, like, trying to get, like, this thief who is, like, the rightful heir to, like, this kingdom that's been absorbed, like, back on the throne. Hasn't really gone anywhere.
And we're saying this, honestly, okay, I get that it sounds like we haven't been paying attention, like, we've just been reading this and not paying attention.
Yeah, it's a case of, like, no, legitimately the comic hasn't been explaining these things.
Yeah, it's a problem with the presentation of this.
Yeah. It's like, okay, there is more detail than what I'm giving, but the thing is, like, it doesn't add up to anything. It's just kind of, like, it's just kind of a series, like, here's this evil guy that we've just cut to talking to somebody or killing somebody or something, and then just cut back to the heroes going to this town to ask people about newspapers.
Plan, cut back, no, it's like, honestly, it feels like we're getting this thing, but there's no exposition.
Yeah.
Like, we need a text dump to explain shit.
Yeah, we've been given, like, a good bit about, like, the way the world works, but we haven't really been doing anything about how the plot works.
No. And, okay, this is a big thing that you can probably... This is immediately related to this. I can't recall where we heard this, and... to that
I think it was, like, in one of the author comments or something.
Oh, it was in the author comments?
I believe. Here, one second.
Okay. While he was looking that
okay, no, it's on the About page.
Oh, okay. Do you want to tell me exactly what it says? Because I'm trying to think... Because I really don't want to misquote it now.
Oh, right, sorry. I forgot to close that. Sorry.
It's alright. Okay, let's see here.
For the record, this issue happens constantly.
Yeah, we're idiots. I forgot to save the videos. Okay. Yeah, this whole thing is based... The story, the plot, the characters are all based on a Dungeons & Dragons campaign. Or maybe not Dungeons... A tabletop...
Well, no, it's like a campaign for Neverwinter Nights 2.
Oh, okay, it's not D&D, but yeah, tabletop game. And you can really, really tell, and I mean that in the most horrible way, because there are times where...
Yeah, the last bit of this part says many changes have been made to make the story more exciting and adapted to a new medium. Not really.
No, because, okay, when you're playing tabletop, like, how many times are you just like, okay, I'm gonna question the townspeople. Okay, that didn't do anything. I'm gonna scout around the lake for a little while. Okay, I didn't find anything there. Okay, I'm gonna dick around in this mine.
Have a boss fight with a giant cat.
You've done that to people?
That comes up later in the comic.
Oh, okay. I wasn't... Because I know you've DM'd on a couple
Most of what you were saying lines up with the story.
Yeah, I know, that's where I was getting it, but I mean, like... I know you've DM'd a couple of games. I'm kind of curious if you've ever just said, yeah. Okay, now you're fighting a giant...
Well, I said the thing mentions it's a computer game, so it's not quite the same thing, though at least like similar level of things.
Yeah.
But...
It feels more like a tabletop game, since it seems like
it does.
Yeah, because it's just as meandering and meaningless, and it feels like a lot of people are coming up with solutions that aren't doing anything.
And it has that same sort of feel of the plot is written to accommodate characters where you don't know for sure what they're going to do. Like, from the person playing them, so you just kind of have to keep their role in the story as generic as possible.
Yeah, like how in something like Skyrim, you can... There's no... I've been playing a lot of that, hence the references. They really can't give the character any sort of really distinct personality because you have to make your choices, and they have to keep things generic and accessible for your character.
Yeah. And the odd thing about Gaia is this problem is getting worse as it goes.
Yeah, I know. You'd think this would get better as characters became more fleshed out, but no, the characters, if anything, become more generic as it goes along.
Yeah.
Maybe that's... At first I thought it was just waning interest, but then no, I think that's just it.
Yeah, it's like... Okay, Viviana's the place to start on that, because...
Is she the thief?
Yeah.
I literally do not know the name of any goddamn character in the story.
I know, like, 3. She's one of them.
Yeah.
Okay, like, she's a good place to start on it, because she starts out kind of a troll and kind of, like, strong with him and stuff.
Sort of like a trickster thief, kind of.
Yeah. And then she and kind of on a level played for last, but then she just very quickly becomes really, like, dull, generic, nice girl.
Yeah.
And I'd call her one of the most fleshed out characters until she kind of is one of the ones who had the most personality to begin with, but even nowadays she really doesn't.
Yeah, the characters move forward to this point of, I'm trying to think of how exactly to word this. Moving the plot along without desiring anything for themselves, or
they move the plot along without affecting it.
Yeah.
Because actually, that's another problem with this comic, is like there is no sense of active agency in anything.
No.
The heroes don't know what's going on. They don't know about the villain. There haven't really been any fight scenes that most of them have been in.
Yeah.
It's just kind of a series of things happen to them, and they respond to it.
Yeah. There's no reason to become invested in anything. There's no, and that's the main problem with this comic, is we went through all of it just absurdly bored.
Yeah.
And that's a complaint that we have with a lot of comics in general, is like nothing's happening. But with those, there's
in this case, it's kind of a thing of like stuff happens. I just have no idea like what the context is or why I should care.
Yeah. They do a terrible job presenting all of this stuff.
I love that you're just drawing this random generic like person.
I know, because I don't care enough about anyone the fuck else to want to draw them. I almost feel like we should skip to the artwork part, because just because of how much I'm enjoying this. I will say there's more shit I want to say about the story, but I will put this out there: the artwork in the comic is really incredible.
Yeah.
Both in the scene, we'll get to some problems with it later, but in general, I think it has one of the strongest art styles I've ever seen.
When Adam first saw it, he said it might have been the best art he's seen in a comic. He since retracted that statement because of the other thing we were talking about reviewing.
We stumbled on this one comic. It was so good it made us revive sort of Webcomicast just so we could talk about how good the fucking artwork was.
Yeah.
This other thing, oh my god.
Yeah. But here, can we jump back to the first page of Gaia for a second?
Yeah.
Or not like the first page, but just like some of the early stuff.
Well, we're already in the early stuff.
Oh.
This is like the check I was drawing was from page 9.
Oh.
I just want to bring up that particular little bit of stupidity.
Okay. But yeah, like the art in Gaia is like really nice.
It really is.
See a lot of like clear, vibrant colors, like high quality, like shading, drawing, and all that. Like the comic looks very good. Mostly, we have some issues with that we'll get into later.
Oh yeah.
But
after I draw this one woman, I gotta look up a scene where they do magic, because the magic in this comic looks amazing.
Yeah, that's kind of the scene I was thinking about.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, the comic here, I'm poking around for it now. So, like, yeah, the comic does look very nice a lot of the time. Although, yeah, like, I think it looks better at the start than it does now, but it does still look good.
And there's a reason for that, which, again, we're going to get into later. I'm sorry, guys.
Okay, here, this is a good page for it.
Hang on one moment. We've gotten off topic. What were we talking about?
The art.
Oh, yeah, the art. Okay, I guess... Oh, right, there was something else I wanted to say about the story, is that... the artwork... The story is written by, I believe... I can't remember... I'm pretty sure it's the author, and... Or maybe it's both the author and the artist, but... It's written by, someone who's German, and... I don't really think that's an excuse for how bad the writing is, because we've read webcomics written by people who were not native English speakers.
Yeah.
And at times I'm wondering, like, is it just badly translated, and that's the reason why we can't get into the characters and are having a trouble understanding the plot? But I don't think it is, because, like we said, these same people also do Sandra and Wu, and comedy is really, really hard to translate. But we can, but it's a damn funny comic.
Yeah, but granted, I will note that both of them sometimes suffer from the same issue on that of some of the sentences are kind of clunky.
Yeah, there's a clunky kind of like obviously not written in English sort of deal, but
yeah, kind of an overly formal, like too literal kind of way.
Yeah, like that, but
I don't think it's that huge a deal.
No, it's not that huge a deal. I mean, like it doesn't really feel like that's the issue with why we're not getting into the writing. It's more a deal with just how bad. Yeah.
Yeah, because honestly, this comic has 6 main characters. I can't really tell you anything about 4 of them.
No. It's just badly written, so bland.
There's nothing else. Like, look at that. The art's really nice.
The art is amazing. Really is incredible. Although, let's get to the main issue we have with that, is we've been looking at...
Here, I want to show this one.
Okay, hang on. Oh yeah, also, I was actually going to look up pictures of this guy later to draw him.
Yeah.
This is one of the professors at the college.
Yeah.
But
yeah, his page looks so good, and it's just random exposition.
I know, there's nothing to it, and we've talked about this before in Shadowbinders. When you're doing, and this is going to relay into one of the problems we have with the artwork, is that when you're drawing scenery, there's all these little touches that you can... When you think of scenery, you think of like really impressive scenery. You think of like Minas Tirith in Lord of the Rings, or I don't know, Bowser's Castle, or like big elaborate sets. But I mean, look at this. This is just a library, but they add in so many little touches to make it seem more real.
Yeah.
Like it's
not even like necessarily even like the shading's that complex or anything. Like it isn't really. It's just drawn well.
It is. Like there's just so many like
they just know what to do with what they got.
Yeah, they make it pop.
Yeah.
I mean that's just something that's so. It's taking a house and making it a home, kind of a metaphorical. Because this set could look so much more boring, but they really make it sort of show off.
Yeah, and here, let me see if I can find a decent page for the counterpoint that we're getting at.
Yeah, you'll notice that we mentioned we're looking at the first chapter of the comic, like the old original stuff. Yeah, that's a big problem with this. I'm gonna start drawing this little gargoyle dude.
I really wish this site had like top links to like navigate through. Like that's one thing I found that like really needs to like be in more comments, of having links at both the top and bottom of the page.
Yeah.
But it makes it a lot easier to find a specific page if you're looking for it.
Oh yeah.
Trying to find one that kind of like does a good job demonstrating the point.
Yeah. But yeah, this first chapter of the comic really was amazing. It was more...
Honestly, that's one other thing with it, is the first chapter is not indicative of what the story's like, but at the same time, it's the most interesting chapter.
Yeah, that's actually a really bad sign. It's like, hey, can we go back to the... I mean, imagine if you watched Lord of the Rings and your reaction after the first 20 minutes was, hey, can they go back to the Shire? Because that's way more... Like, imagine if the Shire stuff was a billion times more interesting than the rest of the journey. Like that from a storytelling perspective, you shouldn't have the opening be the most interesting part. Especially not like some sort of grand heroic epic like this.
Yeah, and especially not whenever it's a I don't almost sent that to Imogen. Especially not whenever it's like, a story where the first chapter is not indicative of what the story itself is like.
No, because after the first chapter, and I feel no shame in spoiling this, like, the school gets attacked and everyone has to run out and stop this whole conspiracy.
Yeah. But returning to the art issue, though, this has been kind of a weird ramble, hasn't it?
It really has, but I feel like we're getting a point across.
It's like...
Look at the background now.
Yeah. It's like... You could pop this same room into the middle of, like, freaking, like, heavy rain, and it would not look out of place at all.
No. Modern-day lamp, modern-day bed, modern-day table with nothing exotic on it. There is nothing at all in this scene.
Some freaking ink pens.
Yeah, ink pens! Not ink wells, ink pens! Notebook! Spiral notebook!
Yeah. A few pages from this, there's a freaking paper bag.
Yeah. Like, there is nothing in the scene look at the way they're dressed!
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing at all in this scene to indicate that it's taking place in a fantasy world. This looks
it's like a medieval fantasy, and it doesn't look it at all.
No, this is just a standard hotel room. Okay, wow.
Okay, yes, before this, robots have already been established that exist in this universe.
Okay, I'm a pervert, so I don't even understand what you just said. I'm just thinking booty, 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 booty.
Alright then. Yeah, it's like robots had already been established to be in this universe, but at the same time, if you're going for the fantasy thing to begin with, you kind of have to keep that motif up.
Yeah.
And the talent doesn't.
Yeah, it's... See, look, this is... Yeah, see, this is...
He's wearing striped pajamas. Where did he get those?
Yeah!
Those look manufactured.
Yeah, it looks manufactured. It looks like it was made in China. I mean, after a point, it just kind of... It's something about presentation, where after a point it just stops being a fantasy. And, like, yeah, they're not driving cars or using iPhones or anything like that, but there's something in the presentation. You have to present it to people as a fantasy, and it still doesn't feel like that.
Yeah, honestly, at a point, it kind of feels like you could plop this into the middle of Sandra and Wu, and it wouldn't be out of place.
No. No, this could be in Sandra and Wu. This could be in,
So if you still get some nice backdrops and stuff, like there, that looks perfectly fine. It just doesn't have this fantasy feel to it anymore.
No, it doesn't. It just feels like it could be tapping in, like, modern-day Ireland or something.
Yeah.
Nothing feels fantastic about this anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't help that the comic is really mundane. A lot of it is just talking.
Again, that is not what you want to see when you're looking at a fantasy comic.
Yeah. And honestly, I can only think a couple of times that there's actually been like any action.
Wow, that is really sad.
When this comic's been running for almost 5 years.
Yeah. Again,
there probably have been more. I can just only think of 2, and even then, it's not common.
Yeah.
Also, should we tell pacing?
I feel like we kind of already have, so I don't see why we shouldn't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just like I didn't know if we should get into that right now or not.
Maybe we can wait a little bit. It seems like there was something else I wanted to bring up on story.
Oh, okay. Here's another issue on the art, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. As good as like the set is and like setting is and like the general like drawing and stuff, like the art quality.
Yeah.
The character design isn't really very good.
No, again, it seems like that was changed after the first issue, because in the first issue, their character design really popped, and it had this really great you kind of instantly recognized everyone kind of caught your attention. After that, it got really boring really quickly.
Yeah, there are some designs that still stand out, like that girl we compared to Palutena. That looks good.
Yeah, I think that's in the top page, right?
Yeah, I'm providing the link.
Okay. I can just... Opening too many tabs is gonna fuck up my... Yeah, that one girl looks like Palutena. It's nice.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna draw her next.
Good designs. But then you have just, like, silver-haired woman.
Yeah. Again, it's hard to come up with extras who immediately sort of capture the imagination and pop. Or someone who's not really of any kind of plot importance and keep that up. But it's very disappointing.
Or like the Kane with like the Fu Manchu mustache.
I kind of like that one a little bit, but yeah.
What?
I kind of like that one a little bit, but I think it's mostly because of the quality.
I think it's an alright look, it's just kind of like... Is that not the most inspired design?
Not really, no. At least she's not
But
straight
actually,
up...
speaking of, this is a thing I want to complain about. This is just really minor. Just here, fourth panel there. This comic did not draw people with beards.
Kind of can't, no.
Every single time they look fake. Always.
Yeah, it's like whenever a person with a beard shows up on My Little Pony.
Yeah.
There's something that happens sometimes with beards where you can't really see the structure of the face.
Yeah. Like, I wish I could find that one character who has like this like thick like red beard or whatever. Like, I legitimately thought it was fake first few times the person showed up.
Oh yeah, any page now, someone's gonna grab it and rip it off like
Well,
Santa Claus.
because like the character was like showing up like disguised as like a guard or something anyway. It was like it came off like it was part of the disguise. Also, this comic can be really strange, like in terms of like what goes for with its emotional elements. Like
yeah.
Like here,
this more of the comic than I have, so.
What is it?
Martin's read more of the comic than I have, so he's going to be weighing in on that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, Adam really couldn't make it through it. Like, I've read everything of it.
This is a major reason why it's taken us so long to get to it. It's just like, hey, Adam, have you finished reading Gaia yet? Don't fucking care.
Yeah. Okay, here, this... page here. Okay, so this girl shows up in page 2 of the current chapter. Right?
Okay.
She is killed on page... What's that at? She is killed on page 10. And then multiple pages are devoted to mourning over her body.
What?
Yeah.
Let me see her. Let me see the death.
Okay. It's like, we don't know who this person is.
Yeah.
And yet she has both a first and last name in the, like in the captions and stuff.
Lydia, no!
It's like, you know, I'm sure she lived a long and full life, but I don't know a thing about it.
Yeah. Again, this is what we mean with, like, this feels like it was a...
And here's that ball fight with the giant tat I was talking about.
Yeah. Again, this is what we mean when it feels like this was written as a D&D campaign that, that wasn't really... That was just poorly handled, because this is the kind of thing that you would write for your OCs.
Yeah.
That you would write for characters that you personally were invested in and had worked with, but then they don't do a good job conveying that to the audience. And that's something that you see a lot for online work, of like, people have their own personal characters that they play around with, but then they don't do anything to sort of convey their own personal story arc to readers.
Yeah. Although I will say this, I do like this touch. That after they touch down, you can see the body being carried off in the background, like to like be attended to.
Oh, yeah, it's a nice touch.
Like, okay, that's actually a really nice touch.
Yeah, it's a good little thing to add in.
That is one thing about this comic. It is good at background details like that.
Yeah, although again, I feel like that got lessened as it went on. In general,
Yeah.
a lot of stuff in the comic got lessened.
It feels like it's gotten lazier as it's gone on.
Yeah, and I mean,
Like, it feels like they're doing it because, well, we've been doing it for several years now. Why not? As opposed to like having any real emotional investment in it.
yeah. I mean, and comics are hard work, and keeping up this level of detail and this level of complexity is difficult. Like, the stuff that you were seeing in the first chapter is difficult, but at the same time, still, come on, you've set a standard for yourself. You have to keep to that standard.
Yeah. Although that being said, I will at least give them this other recent page here. Like this, it's kind of a dull fantasy thing, but at least it's like impressive quality artwork. It's kind of mundane fantasy, but it's an improvement over here's a lamp and a table.
Oh, like the throne room?
Yeah.
Yeah, the throne room's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of question the Tron lines, so it kind of makes it look futuristic.
Again, there's always been like this kind of weird future-y thing in it.
Yeah.
I guess that sort of works.
I didn't have that problem with Twilight Princess. It's just like, why are there Tron lines everywhere?
Yeah, at the very least with Twilight Princess, they restricted to the Twilight realm.
Yeah.
This is kind of a random thing to complain about, but do you want to talk about chapter structure?
Yeah.
We left that out of the outline, but
you know this Dark Lord house coming out looking like really shady. He looks like a Dark Lord car salesman.
He really does, yes.
Right.
This is well outside my comfort zone. I just wanted to draw it anyway.
Yeah. Hey, we never claimed to be better artists.
No, that's why we're praising the artwork so much. They are really goddamn good.
Yeah. Although I do like how it's coming out. It's just kind of a funny look to it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so okay, here's the thing on this comic. The chapters take forever. Like, oh my god, they're so long.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, here, like, okay, I keep accidentally going to Sandra and Wu site. I don't know why Gaia doesn't have its own site instead of just having a subsection of Sandra and Wu.
Presumably because Sandra and Wu is a lot more popular?
I guess. Like,
I give so zero shits about the characters. I'm just drawing whoever pops to me.
Yeah. It's like, okay, right, chapter 2 was 92 pages. It is not even the longest chapter.
No.
Like, not even close.
This is a weird thing to complain about, but there is this sort of sense of, like, at the end of every chapter should move toward completion of some sort of plot point.
And the comic does generally do that. It's like a lot will happen in each chapter, but they would, like, the end of each chapter marks the transition off into something else. Like, each given chapter at least is mostly focused around one given goal.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the problem with, and I mean, again, it's just another case of, you need to learn how to pace yourself.
Yeah. And actually, that's another thing that feels like a video game. It's like, okay, a lot will happen in each chapter, but it's all focused on one given thing. Yeah. Just like in one given area, and then just as soon as the chapter stops, it's just like, well, drop everything and move on to this other place to do this other thing.
Yeah.
It feels structured like a video game.
And not in a good way.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, most video game plot lines, at the very least, if they're good because you're kind of being asked to do these things.
Yeah.
I think the adage for video games is, for most media, it's show don't tell. For video games, it's do don't show.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, okay, so let me give an example here. Chapter 2 is they need to rescue Lilith from, what's that her name?
I think it's, I don't even, why are you asking me?
What? I was kind of asking myself.
Oh, sorry.
It's like, okay, so they need to rescue Lilith from, that's another thing, it's just really hard to remember any of the characters' names because most of them are completely interchangeable.
Oh yeah, like we
Lilith
said,
is one of the more fleshed out ones.
Yeah, like we said, none of the characters really work to pop or put in any sort of personality to what they're doing. They just sort of do the plot beats.
Yeah.
Character goes to X and does Y.
It doesn't help that a lot of the time new characters are just introduced like we've seen them before, and you would only know otherwise if you looked at the tags and like, okay, so nothing shows up before this Like, I had to look on that with that one girl. I was like, so was she somebody we saw before?
Yeah, again, this is like something that people would write about their own OCs. We, the audience, don't know these people, but the author does.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so chapter 2 is Lilith is, like, arrested after the whole attack on the store, and they need to recruit these thieves, the Shadow Dancers, which is a good name.
Yeah, good name. And
okay.
And also I love the way that the thieves' hideout is drawn.
Yeah. Oh yeah, thieves' hideout's neat.
Oh yeah, it reminds me a lot of the Thieves Guild from Skyrim, which incidentally was also my favorite campaign and faction in that game.
Yeah.
I always dug the Thieves Guild.
Yeah. So the Shadow Dancers. I was about to say Shadow Binders for a minute. So the Shadow Dancers, they don't recruit them to help out with this, but they need to help them out with a thing to get them on their side.
Yeah.
So the whole chapter is like going through, finding them and planning out this thing and doing the thing, and then like the fallout of the thing and all this.
Yeah.
Just kind of mixed in with like some pages here and there, kind of foreshadowing toward the overall story. But for the most part, it's just one self-contained thing, and then it's just, as soon as they're done with that, well, better drop that and move on to the prison break.
Again, it's like, hey, I need you to do this thing, but first you have to do this fetch quest for me.
Yeah. But that's literally what it is. They have to go get a necklace for her.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, nobody really reads video games for the random fetch quests. You could at the very least stick to what was... for fuck's sake.
Oh, right. The next chapter wasn't even that. It was just them getting ready to do the assault on the thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, the thing is structured about video game a lot. Each chapter feels like a level.
Yeah. And not
like,
a very well-written level.
Yeah, like the last chapter was an ungodly 162 pages. To put it in perspective, that thing ran from September 7th, 2014 to April of this year.
Yeah.
And that's with regular updates. It only missed like 1 or 2 updates in that time. Updating twice a week. So yeah, 162 pages. Of just them just kind of in this like mysterious town they couldn't leave, and just kind of meandering around trying to figure out what the deal with this town is, and asking questions, interacting with the locals, having a weird thing where they yell at a guy for fishing. I still don't know what was with that.
Yeah.
It's like I guess it's against their okay. That's another thing. The religion in this comic is like it comes up a lot, but it's really poorly explained.
Again, like that's something that's kind of neat in a fantasy world. Like, I like fantasy worlds that kind of embrace their own sort of pantheon and everything and flesh things out. But, and because that's something that's genuinely interesting for me to learn about, both in fantasy and in real life. But not...
Yeah. With this one, it's like, in terms of the religion, it comes up a lot, but all I can actually say about it is like, okay, the world's named Gaia. They seem to worship the world itself. Like, I guess there's like some kind of like spirit that they like believe they're living on or something. I don't know. And there's like some sort of cult that believes in some like higher god like Gaia serves on it. That came up like once.
The sky?
I guess.
I'm just trying to think of like, you know, Earth is underneath the sky, so maybe.
They gave somewhat more specific details on it than what I said, okay. But it's just like it just came up once and was given no context at all. Huh. Actually, they took down that preview page, it looks like.
What preview
That's
page?
weird.
What?
They used to have like a page at the front of the comic that would like, that just was like several different pages like from over the course of the story, just kind of giving you just an overall look at just some like key points. One of them was showing off the page where they were just randomly talking about this cult, which seemed like, you know, okay, so I guess this is important.
I'm drawing Honorable Fu Manchu the First.
Yeah. He reminds me of one of the characters from one of the like In the Name of the Teen sequels.
In the what sequels?
In the Name of the Teen, it's series like bad like Uwe Boll like action movies that like Phalos reviewed.
Oh.
Like yeah, that reminds me of those.
Well, I mean, Uwe Boll gets weird people for his films. I mean, one of his actors was, I mean, he had Bing Kingsley in fucking Blood Rain.
Yeah.
Granted, as good of an actor as Bing Kingsley is, he has done some, he takes some...
Oh yeah, the first In the Name of the Teen is, there's Teen Burt Reynolds with his son, Jason Statham.
Yes! Please tell me that King Burt Reynolds still had his mustache.
1 second. Yeah.
Reynolds the First still has the mustache. That's awesome. Okay, what else can we even say about fucking...
Yeah, I was getting to a point.
Yeah.
Okay, so... The chapter goes, like...
they Sean Connery'd him.
Yeah.
Like, look at the eyebrows versus the hair, and like...
Yeah.
Does he do an accent?
No.
Oh.
Which is funny because he's playing... He's supposed to be the dad of freaking Jason Statham. Like, these two don't play off each other at all.
He can't do some kind of, like, Dick Van Dyke-esque terrible British accent?
No, he's just straight for Reynolds.
Oh, Okay, that's kind of its own special level of bad.
Yeah. Anyway, okay, so this chapter goes through the course of them winding up in this town, just passing through to somewhere, yelling at someone overfishing for vague reasons that don't actually go anywhere, unraveling like some mystery about this town's backstory, and like people dying, nobody wants to talk about it. Let's see, they can't leave the town except the points when they do, but then the story just kind of doesn't seem to notice. I don't know, they talked about like they can't leave the town, but it comes off more like they can't leave the surrounding forest. And there is a difference. Let's see, there's random sets and random talk and stuff. Just, I don't know, there's a lot of random stuff that happens over the course of the chapter that doesn't go anywhere. Yeah. And then just suddenly at the end, it's just like, oh, we realized what the thing is that's going weird here, so sudden attack, and then we just wake up in some other place that seems nowhere near where we were at, but we're not actually going to say what the relation is or what the distance is or anything. Like, we don't know.
Do we at least, and does it figure out, at least come about from detective work or trying to figure out the, phrasing this really terribly, when they figure out what the problem was, does it at least come from some form of detective work or emphasis on their part?
Yeah, here's the thing, like, okay, yeah, there's like detective work to it, but the thing is, we're not really told what it is they're finding out or how.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
It's like we just kind of did like a vague conclusion of like, all these people who died over like 100-year period were killed by the same person. How do you know that? Because they were all powerful wizards. Okay, we better go back to the hotel and tell everybody. Oh no, Lilith's all like evil and possessed and stuff now. She fired a beam at us that seemed to kill all of us and like leveled the building. And now we just woke up in a field that's seemingly on the other side of the country.
This is not just video game logic, this is badly written video game logic.
Yeah, this is about the logic of Sin in Final Fantasy X attacks you in like a desert, and then you wake up in an ice area.
Yeah. Talk to various NPCs until something happens.
Yeah. That's what the chapter feels like.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to explain that part where, seriously, yeah, there's just a scene where Lilith just sees a guy fishing and just suddenly stops to yell at him and like freak out and attack him. And she's kind of portrayed as, usually portrayed with what personality she's given. It's kind of like the reasonable, calm, friendly one. But there, she just suddenly, like, really... Actually, that might have been foreshadowing. No, I don't think it would have been. Because it might have been foreshadowing how she kind of goes nuts over the course of the chapter, but the thing is, I don't think she was studying the spell that made that happen yet.
It just... Again, this is... Something like this, a storyline where you just have a lot of people trapped in a town, trying to get out, that could be a good chance to sort of stop and smell the roses and examine characters, like the way they do on Star Trek.
That's really what the chapter tries to do. It's just that, like, one, it isn't paced very well. Two, it goes on way too long.
Yeah.
And three, like, it's really hard to keep events in this comic in order because most stuff doesn't lead to anything. It's really hard to remember what happened from what.
Yeah. Like, there's no natural evolution of events.
Yeah.
It's like they blew their fucking load on being good artists that they have 0 points in storytelling.
Yeah. Honestly, even Sandra Wu has that problem sometimes. Usually, whenever it does do a story arc, it kind of makes no sense. It goes on too long.
Yeah, Sandra Wu is best. Sandra Wu is best when it's just doing sort of gags. Like whenever it does a story arc, it's usually there's a fair chance it's gonna suck.
Yeah.
I like this king.
Yeah.
Again, The artwork... the artwork is so damn good. Why does the rest of it have to suck?
Yeah. I think I'm trying to be more diplomatic on it than you are.
I know. I'm actually feeling kind of bad about that.
Yeah.
Because I'm being very dickish and unforgiving.
Yeah. I also read more of it than you, so...
True. You like it...
Although, I think I've probably, just between the two of us, I think I've been more vocal about complaining about it.
Yeah.
Because there have been a lot of times where I've just, like, asked, like... So is this going anywhere or what? Like, honestly, it's getting, like, Misfile levels of, like, just plot fatigue, but, like, way before Misfile hit that point.
Oh, yeah. In general, this is just a problem with a lot of webcomics. It's just they don't go anywhere or have trouble pacing themselves.
Yeah.
And I'm entirely...
In this one, it's not that things don't happen, it's just, like, things happen, but it just goes back and forth between, like, taking too long to happen and going way too fast. Mm-hmm. And two, regardless, you never did any context for it, so you just don't know what's going on or why you should care.
Yeah. I think we're running around in circles at this point. Is there anything else we can really bring up about Gaia?
Not offhand. And I don't... It's an odd thing, because it's like, I don't really want to, like, just do nothing but bash the top, but the thing is, I can't actually think I have that much good to say about it.
Again, like, we talked about the artwork, and we talked about how much we liked the first chapter, but because that had the most engaging plot, that had the most interesting look at the characters, that had more personality than the rest of the comic did. I think that's all we have to say about it that was positive.
One thing I will give them, as of late, they seem to be interested in trying to focus more on the characters who have not been fleshed out as much.
That's always good.
They don't actually seem to be fleshing them out doing this, but at least they're focusing on them, so you might accidentally get the character.
Yeah, again, it's hard to be invested with characters you know nothing about.
Yeah.
And it's... I'm trying to think of exactly how it must... Again, it's like what I was saying earlier about Star Trek. In every Star Trek show, whatever the problem of the week is, whatever bullshit forehead alien that for some reason can't just immediately be killed by the super powerful starship, whatever it is, the characters are always interacting with each other, and however badly written they are, they do still all have personality, and they all still do kind of bounce. In a really good show, they will all still sort of bounce off each other and be interesting as they try to solve the problem. This is just that, but with all the character removed. Everyone is Spock.
Yeah. I wouldn't even say everyone's Spock. It's like everyone's random ensign.
Yeah, everyone's random ensign. Everyone's a red shirt and nobody's dying.
Yeah. Except for the super red shirts, I guess.
Yeah! Like...
There have been deaths along the way, but we haven't really been reason to care about any one of them.
Double red shirts, where they don't even have faces.
Yeah. Actually related to that, what was up with the thing in the first chapter where they, like, build up, like, that bully guy and then just kind of casually mention, like, oh yeah, he was one of the people killed.
Yeah, whatever. That was random.
Yeah.
Again, it feels like these characters mean something to the author, but they don't introduce them to the story. And again, we're running in circles. I guess we've talked for over an hour. I guess we're kind of done with this.
Have we talked for over an hour? I mean...
Yeah, we're at an hour and 4 minutes on the recording. I know, okay. Like, this really breezed by, didn't it?
Yeah. I think we were kind of worried this was going to be kind of short.
Well, we did also talk about... We spent over 20 minutes on Misfile.
Yeah. I hate that we didn't once get the chance to reference that thing I mentioned earlier. Like, I want to reference this somehow. Whatever.
God, I can't think of anything, damn it!
Yeah, none of these characters are interesting enough.
Yeah, the other thing we want to reference is... Yeah.
Okay,
but maybe we'll work it in when we talk about the next comic.
Yeah. we are going to try to be much quicker about the next one.
Yes, we would like to start doing this every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks or something closer.
Yeah, it's like we probably won't have like a set schedule and like always watch for it at this time, but we'd at least like get in the ballpark.
Oh yeah.
With True That In, we're gonna need more comments to read because we've really blown through most of what we can think of.
I sadly have a lot sitting in my Gmail inbox, which I'm gonna have to sort through, and
yeah, we are gonna do more requests. Don't worry. If you send us something asking us to take a look at your comment, we are gonna at least consider it.
Yeah, like we do consider and look at all. Can you hear that?
Huh? What is it?
A plane just flew really low over my house. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I was wondering what that was.
Yeah, what the fuck? Okay, I'm gonna play it back and listen for that. Yeah, what were we saying?
Okay, so yeah, we do look at everything that's in our way.
Oh, absolutely.
And like, if you have any ideas or whatever, by all means, let us know.
I think I'm kind of with the epic rappels of history stances that all suggestions have merit.
Yeah. Except Sanju. We're not doing Sanju.
No, we're not doing so. In spite of what we've, of how badly this review has come off, we don't like doing wholly negative reviews, and we don't like bringing something out just so we can bash it.
Yeah, honestly, Gaia does have some merit, which is kind of why it was worth at least talking about.
Oh yeah, I mean we complimented what we felt needed to be complimented, and we just say what we feel, and you know it's just it's just the opinion of two assholes. I mean, I never feel like we're being unfair to a comic. Yeah. Honestly, I kind of hate myself if I thought that we were.
Yeah.
It's one reason I like doing suggestions is we're much more likely to get responses from the people who do them, and I always really do love that feeling because they're always super nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. Should we go ahead and say what we were looking at doing next, or?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, yeah, next is probably going to be this thing that's kind of fairly new, and I don't think has that much of a following, so it might be a little less, it might be a little more out there than some of the other stuff we've done so far. It's called Moonlit Brew.
Oh, yeah. And I'm going to say, we wanted to do this as soon as we saw this page, because the artwork on this comic is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And we're going to get into more of that and more of the ups and downs of it and everything when we talk about it, which hopefully shouldn't be too long, because we do really want to discuss this comic. It's really good.
For distracting from Gaia here, I just going like, yeah, here's that comic we said looks better than it.
Yeah, this is what kind of made me think, like, you know, maybe Gaia isn't the best comic I've ever written, like, the comic with the best artwork I've ever seen, because this is better.
Yeah, don't take that the wrong way though. Gaia does look really good.
It really does. Even this is the most recent page. I'm still drawing characters just off of this because the character design is just pops.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think.
Since we're wondering about suggestions, or whatever, I kind of wonder if we should list off some of the stuff we've at least considered taking a look at, or.
Should we? Do you even still have that list? Because I don't know if I.
I lost all my files on my computer this morning.
Yeah. Your computer got wiped out by a virus. So hang on,
You probably shouldn't be bringing it up on the stream anyway. Might start bringing up the wrong thing.
Yeah, because there were some things on that list where I thought like, yeah, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Yeah. What else were we looking at for the?
I know we talked about abstract gender.
Oh yeah.
We talked about that. We talked about Anti-Hero for Hire.
Yeah. We talked about
Bob and George.
Yeah, Bob and George.
Would you ever want to do 8-bit theater?
No. You?
Yeah. I have no idea how the good parts hold up.
Yeah, I don't know how, because I stopped reading it for long after it.
I stopped reading it before it ended.
Yeah, I would look back on it every once in a while, but I had stopped reading it before it ended too. I'm not sure. I haven't read it in forever. I don't know how well 8-bit theater holds up.
Yeah.
I've got no real intention of looking back. I think the only reason I probably would be because of Webcomicast.
Yeah. Honestly, the main issue on looking back at abstract or doing abstract gender that I brought up is just where we mentioned we don't like to do wholly negative reviews.
You were gonna just rip that thing apart.
I don't know. There are things I liked about Episode Gender when I was reading it, but there's like nothing to look back on fondly.
Maybe it'll help looking back on it. Maybe you'll see shit that you thought.
Maybe I don't know. That might be one of those comments where I'll just kind of have to go like, nah, maybe not, because there are certain things about that just annoy me to no end.
Yeah. Like for reference, like my favorite manga is Negima, and I hated the first anime adaptation of it for years. But I recently looked back on it, and it's not all bad. Like there were bits and pieces, and they had some ideas that I really liked and thought were genuinely improvements on the comic.
Oh yeah, there's stuff in Abstract Gender that's absolutely good. It's just the biggest issue with that comment is infuriating.
Yeah, maybe we should. I kind of. As much as we say we don't do wholly negative reviews, maybe we should do this one just to hear you feel and bitch.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's alright. I might need to think about it. I think I'm more open to doing that than I am your choice of, like, punching bad.
Yeah, that I would just go completely rabbit on.
Yeah.
And it probably wouldn't be that good of an idea because it's a very popular comic, which is why I don't really want to say what it is.
Yeah. I think we actually did say it once or twice.
We made jokes about it.
Yeah. And I think we've had someone was one of the previous ones.
Oh, okay.
But, I don't know, either way, let's just hope not.
Yeah.
What else?
Can't recall. Bob and George, Abstract Gender, whatever the other one was that we mentioned.
I wonder about Metatopia, but that one's again one of those ones like I have no idea how that holds up.
Yeah.
I would imagine not well because I was pretty fed up with it by the time I stopped reading it.
What was that one comic you brought up to me where it's like a woman's in a concert and she's trying to get a guy to
Marry Me. Oh my god, I want to marry me.
Okay. Like, for good reasons or for bad reasons?
A little of both. Because it's a really fascinating comic in the fact that, like, how to put this? It has more good going on with it than it kind of has a right to.
Oh.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
A lot of it's also just having really good art.
Now I'm really curious.
Yeah, the art's very nice.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. It feels like there were one or two other things we talked about that stood out as, like, potential options, but I'm not thinking of them offhand.
Those are probably suggestions that we've gotten thus far, but I don't think we can look those up right now because I don't really want to go into my Gmail inbox, like, on camera.
Yeah. Especially given it's the account used for PayPal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Okay. I guess we should just wrap up then.
Yeah. So either way, just like if any of those things we named off that we're considering doing stand out to you, by all means, give us Lord. Or suggest anything else you're thinking of. Because we are, besides looking for more stuff to do for this, we've been looking for more comics to read.
Oh yeah, because we do like webcomics. As much as we're that's why we're doing this to begin with, and the fact that we make them ourselves. Hint, hint.
Yeah. Like, and really, we're not claiming to do it better. We're just kind of stating our opinions.
Yeah, we in the course of doing this, we've been drawing webcomics for several years, and over the course of it, we've developed these kind of.
We've learned a lot. Like the early days of our comics suck.
Yeah, as they always do.
Yeah.
Although, which is weird to say while reviewing a comic where it was kind of backwards.
Yeah, while reviewing a comic where we think it was at its best at the very beginning.
Yeah. That's always really depressing. Have you ever seen... Because I've seen multiple comics where... Not just in webcomics, but like general comics where... It starts to hit a slope and starts to really, really, really suck. Like, especially in artwork.
Yeah.
It's like, it was really depressing in Peanuts, where Charles Schulz had become so old that the artwork was degrading just because he couldn't hold a pen as well as he used to.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, that's...
Honestly, on a certain level, it's kind of commendable, though, just because it's like... you easily could have just recycled art straight.
Oh, yeah. After 50 fucking years?
Yeah. So, oh my god, Garfield do it about every 6 months.
Pretty much, yeah.
Actually, like, literally.
Does he even really draw the... whatever, we're getting way off topic. Yeah, like, Charles Schulz, living legend.
I would kind of recommend looking through Gaia.
Yeah. I would recommend Gaia as I would recommend Gaia as a picture book.
Yeah.
Like, if they released, if this were a print book and you could just flip through it like the way you flip through an art book that you have in your coffee table, it would be a million times better than it would be as a webcomic.
Honestly, the silent contest would probably be a lot more interesting. I just read the German one. I'd probably be more invested in it.
Oh my god! That is such a backhanded compliment, but it's so goddamn true. This comic would be better if I had no idea what anyone was saying.
Yeah. I don't know. Actually, no, I don't think that's true because there are a lot of scenes of people sitting around talking.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. But we don't know what they're talking about anyway!
Yeah, true.
Like, you translate it into English, but you might as well not have.
Yeah.
Nobody gives a shit about your OCs.
Yeah. And I would like to know more about your OCs. Please tell me, because as it is, I don't know anything about them.
Yeah.
We're kind of rambling, but hey, it's the first one back. We're rusty.
Yeah, we're sorry, folks. Again, want to do these more regularly.
We have fun with it, so hopefully you do.
Oh yeah, I think that's all we got.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I think that's basically everything. Just yeah. Well, we'll try not to keep you waiting for months on end this time.
All right. We'll see you later, guys. Bye.